David Edwards, another signing by Brandon Beane here. Another reason why the Buffalo Bills won free agency in 2023. Trent Sherfield, Deontay Hardy, all these guys, Connor McGovern, and everyone that we brought in ultimately brings in competition, and ultimately we're going to get the best out of all these players. And in this video, we're going to discuss all the players on this team that really need to step up and why I believe we won free agency. But welcome to my channel here, Bills News Consolidated. We're here in Florida doing a little bit of kayaking, trying to multitask a little bit. But guys, proof is Brandon Beane did an excellent job in this offseason with limited funds. It really starts with having the relationship and having the contracts and the foresight to know that we're going to have to restructure players like Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen and everybody on this team. Like, we did such an excellent job establishing that for the Buffalo Bills. And I really believe, knowing that we could do that again in the future, the salary cap really isn't a problem. Brandon Beane corrected it when he first got here, and now he can keep correcting it and keep going, which is absolutely excellent. Now, looking at the players that we brought in, Trent Sherfield, Deontay Hardy, bringing in competition not only to Khalil Shakir in the slot, but also on the perimeter to Gabe Davis, and we need more out of both. Like Khalil Shakir, I guess we really don't know what we have there, to be frankly honest, but Gabe Davis, I think, had a clear season, and yes, we could say that he got hurt. Ankle injury set him behind a little bit. But again, like, we got to get more out of that position. And I think the other thing that we have to keep in mind here too is, what about Stefon Diggs? What about a future without Stefon Diggs? So a lot of people assuming that the Bills are not going to be drafting another wide receiver because we brought in Trent Sherfield, Deontay Hardy. But the other thing that's so favorable about this is that Brandon Beane brings these guys in basically on all 1-year contracts, or contracts that we could basically walk away from after a year. They're prove-it type deals. These are prove-it type contracts. You're coming to Buffalo to be the best version of yourself, try to become something, trying to maybe go back into free agency and get paid. I mean, Damien Harris just fits the bill too. Previous video, I stated in 2021 he had 15 rushing touchdowns. Why do you think Bills Mafia was obsessed with Jamal Williams this free agency? Because he had 17 rushing touchdowns. Devin Singletary only had 16 rushing touchdowns in his career. So it's clear the Bills want to get more out of the running back position. We definitely got to get better players, better depth, better talent. Now, another positional need, I really think, entering free agency is still another defensive tackle. Now, a lot of Bills fans saying that we should trade Ed Oliver or trade for DeAndre Hopkins, but it's really going to boil down to who's ultimately available when the Buffalo Bills draft, right? So if the Buffalo Bills are at 27th and we're able to select a player like JSN, I don't think it would make sense to bring in a DeAndre Hopkins. That's why I've been saying here we would kind of be wise to maybe wait a little bit and kind of see what happens after the NFL draft. Once that happens, then you can kind of dip back into free agency and determine what players can ultimately help you. Or if you miss completely in that draft, you could basically trade for a player and get someone that would really benefit your team. But looking at it here, the offensive line, right? Defensive tackle, I think it really starts in the trenches. But offensive line, defensive tackle, next to Ed Oliver. I mean, look what happened when Daquan Jones was out versus Cincinnati. They ran it. Joe Mixon had a great day against us, and they ran a balanced offense, and it just dominated us. So why should we rely on Daquan Jones all again for 2023, knowing very well that he could get hurt? He could very well miss time again. I think we definitely need to bring someone in. And the guy I like is Siaki Ika. He's big, 380 pounds. You're not going to move this guy off the line of scrimmage. And I think you pair him with Ed, and that's a huge fit. Some other players, too, we got to look at as tight end. I've been saying it here, too, for weeks. And Bobby Hart, he had 11.2% snap count last year. We can't discount that. We can't lose that sight because we had 3 tight ends on that field. I think it's really important that we address that. I don't think we can expect really any tight end to accomplish what Bobby Hart did last year. I think he was excellent. But we have to keep that all in mind because it's 6'8", 380 pounds is a little bit different for a tight end. Good, how are you, sir? But then Darnell Washington, he's 6'8", you know, tight end. He can catch, he can go out, he could do a little bit of everything. It's something the Bills really need to consider there too. And what is this saying? That tight ends are extension of the offensive line. So we could definitely see that. Facts are that Josh Allen got way too beat up last year. Way too beat up. We saw his elbows at the end of the year, but Damien Harris is definitely going to help. So that's a definite huge addition. Jordan Poyer is a huge signing. Thank God we got Jordan Poyer back. Unbelievable. And now I know Steve Tasker, Chris Brown, they were even talking about potentially still drafting a safety. And it makes sense because we really don't know what's going on with Damar Hamlin. Like, we don't know if Damar Hamlin will ever play an NFL game again. Like, the hope is that he will, and everything indicates that he's going to. But still, we really don't know what is going to happen there. So the Bills could put him on IR and just wait and see how long it's going to take for him to come back. So it might be wise. And the rookie I'm looking at is Ronnie Hickman of Ohio State. Led Ohio State in tackles. Great safety. Actually reminds me of Jordan Poyer. And Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, these guys are getting up in age. Like, we got to start moving on, flipping the page, turning the page from these guys. And also, I mentioned Stephon Diggs. Like, we got to have competition, not only Gabe Davis, not only Khalil Shakir and Trent Sherfield and Deontay Hardy. We got to get competition to Stephon Diggs. I really think that's what's going on here, guys. We got to get some hard-notch competition to Stephon Diggs. Another wide receiver that's going to compete with Stephon Diggs, right? You know, he thinks he's got to get an equal player on this team, I think. And the Bills really had two dynamic threats that really dominate, you know, and I think the NFL draft is the perfect place to do it. But again, free agency, Brandon Beane filling all of these holes. Interior of this offensive line is solidified. I really want to bring in some more competition to that tackle spot. DeJuan Jones, I think Ohio State, 6'8", another mammoth, 380-pound dancing bear on the outside would be the perfect fit for the Buffalo Bills. Absolutely huge, absolutely dynamic. I think Brandon Beane needs a round of applause. Still in discussion of being the best GM in the NFL, without a doubt. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please, I deeply appreciate it. Hit like, subscribe. Gonna be bringing you content here on my way down to the Florida Keys. So check you guys soon. Go Bills.